This is a very important video that I'm making right now, so I'm going to word things very, very carefully, okay? Are the UFC being paid millions to have their events in Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia? Yes, they are, and I have no problem with that because that's just good business, and it makes sense to try and break into a new market. However, as I let this video play in the background of Dana White meeting Turki Al-Sheikh, who's paying all of these boxers to have their big fights over there, and now he's doing the same for the UFC to come to Saudi Arabia, are the UFC artificially letting certain fighters, I'm not going to say what type of fighters because I know that's a minefield, no pun intended, sorry. Are they letting certain fighters that can better relate to an audience from Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi cheat in fights? I mean, we can go through the Wood versus Naimov fight today, which I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a bunch of examples. Are they making up new rules for what should happen after an illegal knee to the face that stops a fight? They gave Ankalaev a no contest. They gave Yan no belt. What's the difference? There isn't one. There's also this, more cheating we're going to go through today, and these scorecards from the UFC Saudi Arabia card and from the other card that they have in Abu Dhabi most recently, which was Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2. Very, very important to mention that 90% of the examples I'm going to use today are all from just two cards. One in Abu Dhabi, one in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to be very careful with the way I mention things. I'm going to get into why I think this is happening afterwards. But first of all, I just want to let you see this image real quick before I try and convince you that maybe the UFC's selling out a little bit. Let's have a little look. Just going to let it play. We're going to get into my examples in a second. I just wanted you to see that image. I wanted you to see that image right there. And we're going to get into some examples. Okay, this is from the last two Abu Dhabi cards. And I've noticed this on the Saudi Arabia card, and I've noticed it on the Abu Dhabi card before. This is from Saudi Arabia, though, sorry. We just were there. We watched Magomed Sharipov. No, that's not his name. Shara Magomedov. We watched him, you know, the pirate. He's a big name coming up. Everyone's talking about him. He fought an absolute can. They gave him a layup of an opponent in Tricoli. It was a short notice mix-up, though, so it's all okay. And in that fight, he performed one of the most egregious fence grabs in recent UFC history. Fact. Here we see him against Tricoli. Tricoli's going for a takedown. He's trying to get his leg between... he's getting his leg around Shara's so he can leverage towards his left once he's got the body lock, whilst Shara Magomedov is stuck on one leg, and he can step through with his left leg here, which is what he's doing, Tricoli, to knock off the balance of Shara Magomedov on his rear leg as well. Without this fence grab, Shara Magomedov is done. He's not done for. He's on the ground. And he's probably, by the positioning of the legs, he's probably in half guard on bottom position. Okay? And judging from his Bruno Silva fights, that's a really good position to have Shara Magomedov in. Now, I don't mind that he grabbed the cage. It's cheating. Absolutely horrendous. Shouldn't be done. But we see people grab the cage all the time. The problem I have is that when people grab the cage and get away with it, the referee doesn't see. Edwards did this against Usman in a title fight and immediately got a point deducted. I want to show you this. Mark Goddard is the ref here. Okay? I don't care that he grabbed the cage. What I really care about is that Mark Goddard watched him grab the cage, let him grab the cage, watched it stop a takedown, saw it, warned him about it. You're not allowed to stop takedowns with a fence grab. This is absolutely a completed takedown. Look how off balance Shara Magomedov is in this position. If he isn't grabbing the cage, he is getting sent to the canvas on bottom position with a minute to go. And this is very bad as well because after this, Tricoli got hurt to the body by Shara Magomedov and started to look like he was fading after this. So he really needed this takedown. And Goddard saw it. And Goddard warned him, told him not to, and proceeded to not take a single point away from him or even separate the fight and give Tricoli a position on the bottom. He did nothing about this. And this was one of the most blatant fence grabs we have seen in recent MMA history. I go through some other examples here because that's just not one. One of them's not enough. And by the way, this is across two cards that I'm going to show you today. Should I stick to the Saudi Arabia card first? Maybe I should. No, let's go through it in this order because I've set it up this way. Nathaniel Wood versus Mohamed Naimov. Now, again, a fighter in Mohamed Naimov that could he could be very beneficial to the UFC by signing this deal with Saudi Arabia to have someone that's a bit more relatable to the native population. I completely understand they should want Naimov to win because they're pushing for this market. It's the same way they wanted Yair and Moreno to win when they had the UFC PI being built in Mexico and they wanted Grasso to win. They just rigged a scorecard for her against Valentina Shevchenko. But that's not what this is about. We're talking about this specific deal because there's hundreds of millions going on right here in terms of a deal to have these events in Saudi Arabia. And it's clearly very important because the last Saudi card that they proposed was weak as shit. And Saudi put their foot down and said, no, we're not having that card. You're putting on a real card for us. That needs to be mentioned as well. And then they did Whitaker Chimaev on a fight night. You know how many pay-per-views that would sell? They put it on a fight night for Saudi Arabia. I want to show you Wood versus Naimov. This is on the Volkanovski-Makhachev 2 card, which was in Abu Dhabi. Naimov knees him in the groin in the first round. He does it twice. Okay, he knees him in the groin. This is Nathaniel Wood, by the way. I hope he watches this. I see you. I saw what happened to you, brother. I saw it. We all saw it. But I don't think people saw how bad it was. He knees Nathaniel Wood in the groin. A groin shot. No big deal. They separate. They watch the replay. He gets a warning. Okay? After that groin shot, he then kneed Nathaniel Wood straight in the sternum as well, by the way. Right in the solar plexus. Right there. Right in the bread basket with another knee. And Wood had to take a groin shot and then a shot to the body as well. Then Mohamed Naimov in round 2 grabbed the cage against Wood. Well, early on, he actually hit another groin shot on Wood. So he's been warned and he hit another groin shot on Wood and he hit the cup with a front kick that was supposed to be to the body. Now, not that bad. I completely get it. The referee was like, okay, it was accidental. I'm not going to take a point away. I could, but I'm not going to. I wouldn't assume bias yet. Naimov grabs the fucking fence covering or the cage, whatever you call this little padded thing, to stop a takedown from Nathaniel Wood in round 2. This is after he's already groin shotted him twice. He's stopping a takedown with this and he grabs it twice. The referee warns him and he puts his hand up and says sorry. So again, in this area of the world, a referee has seen a fighter that would better relate to the audience from that area cheat blatantly, stop a takedown with it. The ref has seen it, has called him on it. He's responded to the ref, and the ref has done nothing about this. Naimov went on to reverse this position and take down Wood in round 2 and win that round, arguably because of it. Awful, terrible, they let him get away with it. Well, it's not like he's going to keep fouling and they're still going to let him get away with it, right? That's already 3 or 4. 2 cage grabs, 2 groin shots. Still no point. Okay, maybe not that bad. He headbutts Nathaniel Wood in round 2 as well. Crashes forward and headbutts him. No, this is round 3. Not bad, maybe unnoticeable by the ref. Head clashes happen quite a lot in the sport. Not that bad, A-okay with that. Cool. If there wasn't other fouls, I'd be less angry. It's all good. He's spinning heel kicks Nathaniel Wood in the groin. The commentary at the time hear it and say, he just hit him in the groin again. I heard the cup. Maybe accidental, but he's hit him in the groin again. That's 3 groin shots, 2 cage grabs, and 1 headbutt from Mohamed Naimov. Warnings across the board. Not 1 point has been taken. Nathaniel Wood ends up on top in the 3rd round. He's been waiting to break Naimov the entire fight. Ends up on top, lands a vicious ground and pound shot on him, really badly stuns him with it on the ground, and Naimov starts to grab his gloves. Okay? There's a whole other screen of his cheats. Grabs the glove here. Nathaniel Wood punches again, and what is Naimov doing? He's grabbing the glove. The referee sees this. He's still grabbing the glove here, right in front of the referee, during what is nearly a finishing sequence from Nathaniel Wood, by the way. Before this, Naimov is wobbled earlier that round. He's breaking. He's very clearly not wanting to be in there anymore. He wants to survive until the final bell. He's breaking out there. And Nathaniel Wood is starting to put it on him badly. And he's trying to survive. That's what's happening here. And Wood is beating him up on the ground in round 3, looking for a finish. Naimov grabs the glove again. The ref sees him. This is the referee's hand pointing at the glove grab. He sees him do it. After 2 groin shots, 2 cage grabs, a headbutt, and whatever else I mentioned here, three groin shots. Sorry, three of them. The referee has still not done anything to stop Naimov or take a point or have anything benefit Wood in this fight. He grabs the glove again. Here, the referee's hand comes in. Wood's still trying to punch with his free hand on Naimov, but look what Naimov's doing. He's still hooking the glove. The referee steps in again because he hooks the glove again at the end of the fight. That's 2 glove grabs now that the referee has seen. Let alone the ones he hasn't, that he's seen. These 2. And he's done nothing about it. And Naimov gets the win by decision with no point deductions. The most fouls ever committed in UFC history. And not 1 point was deducted. That's not where it ends. Ankalaev kneed Johnny Walker in the face and Johnny Walker was deemed not able to continue. Ankalaev got given a no contest because it was deemed accidental. Okay? Accidental it was deemed. He knew what he was doing and he kneed Johnny Walker in the head. He wasn't thinking at the time, maybe. He wasn't like, make sure I don't knee him in the face right now. He was going with the flow of the fight, but he committed a foul, and it's intentional that he kneed him in the face. But it was considered accidental. He accidentally kneed Walker in the face. It doesn't count that he accidentally committed a foul. That's still a foul, which is why Jan had his belt stripped away from him. They deemed Jan's intentional, and therefore they took away his world championship belts from him. This also happened on the very same card of Ankalaev versus Walker. Okay? And I'm going to show you real quick. This is Cedric Dumas versus Abu Azaitar. You can go back and watch any of these fights. I'm not making stuff up. I wouldn't do that. I need some credibility. Okay? I can't just call John Jones gay and have a career out of it. Cedric Dumas gets his head grabbed by Abu Azaitar. Now, from this angle, you're thinking, okay, he's getting a single, like he's tying up in the clinch. He's trying to tie up in the clinch and do something with it. Okay, he's got the back of Cedric Dumas's head. He then grips the braids of Cedric Dumas. Okay? And he's throwing punches at him in this sequence as well, Abu Azaitar, who again is another fighter in all of these examples, accidentally, that could very helpfully relate to a Saudi Arabian or an Abu Dhabian audience. Okay? He's now got Cedric Dumas held hostage by the dreads. Okay? He's got this guy held hostage by the dreads and he's winding up punches on him whilst having him held captive by his own dreads. Okay? He punches him in the face while he's got a hold of his dreads. He grabs him again by the dreads, punches him in the head, and then he's still got a hold of his dreads and punches it again. Was there a point deducted for this? No, there wasn't. Jason Herzog was the referee in this fight. He stopped the fight. He said, okay, something clearly went on there. Let's check the replay. He watched this on replay. Abu Azaitar gripping the dreads and holding Cedric Dumas by his dreads and punching him in the face whilst doing it. And he said, accidental, no point deduction. You can watch the fight yourself. I can't use UFC footage. I've been trying to upload this video all day and they keep getting it taken down because I'm using little bits of footage. The fucking annoying company, man. ONE FC literally offered to let me use their content. Be more like ONE FC. Either way. Abu Azaitar is punching this guy in the head while having a grip of his dreads. Deemed accidental, by the way. But Jan's knee over Aljo, intentional, take his belt away. This is within 2 events. In Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. 2. We go on. Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon. That was a fucking robbery. Gordon should have won that fight. End of discussion. Gordon should have won that fight. He got it taken away from him, and they gave it to Nasrat Haqparast. Not that bad, I guess. But when you tie it in with the bunch of other examples within the space of 2 fucking cards, it gets a bit suspicious. And when I'm looking at this, you can't even read this because I couldn't get a good enough screen capture of it, but you can maybe make out that this is a scorecard being read for this fight below of Gadsielosilov or Brenson Ribeiro. Guess who they might be biased towards over there? It's not Brenson Ribeiro, the fucking Brazilian. It's Magomed Gadsielosilov. I want to tell you right now, you see these round 3 stats where Gadsielosilov was 7-1 on significant strikes and just basically laid on top in half guard, doing basically nothing the whole round, he got a 10-8 round for that. Okay? I'm not saying they gave him a robbery decision. This judge, Vito Patillo, whatever his fucking name is, we'll never know what his face is. That's a thing about these judges. Scored that fight a draw. A lot of you probably don't even know that, because you probably just saw Gadziolov get his hand raised and thought, okay, 29-28 him. He scored the fight a draw. Now, when I first saw that, I thought, this guy's giving draw rounds out? He's got a round scored 9-9 out there? What is he doing? And then I realized, no, he doesn't have a round scored 9-9. He scored the first 2 rounds to Brenson Ribeiro, which, by the way, I think is incorrect to do. He scored the first 2 rounds to Brenson Ribeiro, and then, for no reason at all, gave Gadziolov a 10-8 in round 3. The worst 10-8 we maybe have ever seen outside of maybe Grasso Shevchenko when they were building the UFC PI. No coincidence at all. And maybe outside of Usman versus Chimaev, which also happened in Abu Dhabi on Makhachev versus Volkanovski too. Chimaev was unanimously given on every scorecard a 10-8 round in the first round of that fight. Now, in an ideal world, is that a 10-8 round? Yes. But let me tell you something right now. In terms of high-profile fights, outside of the one judge that gave Grasso Shevchenko round 5 a 10-8 to Grasso, which gave her the draw and saved her title. They just built a UFC PI in Mexico. It's all good. Outside of that, and outside of this, which is another example on just the 2 cards, outside of that, this is the most lenient 10-8 round and easiest 10-8 round I've ever seen given in maybe recent UFC history. He did not do that much damage to Usman in round 1. And then they just sort of scattered over what rounds to give him in rounds 2 and 3, eventually giving Chimaev the win. I thought Usman won the 2nd and 3rd round. Damage-based scoring, he landed the better shots. But when these guys are on top, and I'm not even going to get into other stuff, but this is within the space of 2 cards, guys. I wouldn't be doing this if it was across the distance of like 2-3 years. Coincidence. Maybe they were just bad refs that day and it just happened to be in their area. This is within 2 fucking cards. 2 single cards, guys. 2! We don't see these types of fouls more than once a year. And within 2 cards, egregious fouls benefiting one direction of fighter. It's crazy. It is crazy to me. And we see him shaking hands with these guys, hundreds of millions, bring your events to Saudi Arabia. This as well, listen to this.
People also wondering a lot about Shara if he can compete in the United States.
Can he?
Yes.
Probably not. We'll keep him out here.
Lol. These guys, because of the current political state of the world, I'm not even going to get into it, you know why, they're not allowed to compete in the US. They have to compete in the UAE or Saudi Arabia. So, basically, without these guys succeeding, and these fighters succeeding, there is no UFC Saudi Arabia. There is no UFC Abu Dhabi. You know that. Abu Dhabi, who's the main event? Oh, we got to scramble to get Makhachev on there quick. They won't allow anything else. We have to. Saudi Arabia, what card should we put on? Oh, that's a shit card. We're not having that UFC. Sorry, we'll do Whitaker Chimaev. Sorry. Please give us your hundreds of millions to have the events there, please. You know what I mean? We can go through this again. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Corey Sandhagen. Umar getting Sandhagen. Figueiredo's in the co-main event. Former flyweight champion. 2-fight win streak at bantamweight. Better wins at bantamweight than Umar Nurmagomedov. And he's a fucking maybe 3rd greatest flyweight of all time. I can say that comfortably, I think. And he's getting skipped up. He's getting he's getting Marlon Vera in the very same card. Umar's getting the main event spot in Abu Dhabi for a fight night. When you don't have these guys succeeding, you don't have these events in Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. And when you don't have the events in Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia, you lose hundreds of fucking millions of dollars. Okay? And that's what I'm worried about right now. I'm not saying that they're intentionally doing this. Well, I'm not saying any of that. I'm just noticing trends. That's all I'm doing. Okay? And what I know is, when you start making hundreds of millions of money more, when you start making hundreds of millions more, and you're a business, when you start bringing in that extra income every month, every year, whatever it is, based on the deal, and you start bringing in that income, guess what else you start doing? You start raising your expenses, because now you can, because you have that money coming in and you're raising your expenses. And what that does is that subconsciously makes a company dependent on that money coming in. When they have money coming in and the reason, and they raise their expenses outwards from their business because of that money coming in, now all of a sudden, if that money stops coming in, their expenses are going to have to start coming down, or maybe they've locked themselves into some kind of expense that they're not going to just be able to bring back down. So they're going to need that money. This is the problem I have, and it's the same problem boxing is going to have. I'm not even... Listen to what I've done on this video. I've not said they're a shit crowd of non-warriors that don't understand combat and they just sit there and golf clap. No aura whatsoever. I'm not saying any of that in this video. I could go into all of that and say this is why it's destroying the sport. Why is it at this time? Because in, the UFC, at least there's guys from that region of the world-ish, because they're not anywhere near that region, but they represent that region, of course. I'm not going to get into why. Fucking hell. But still, I'm sweating so much. It's so hot in the UK right now. But still, in boxing, we see Fury Usyk happening out there. That should be in Wembley Stadium. Fury versus Usyk, unification belt, undisputed. That should be in Wembley Stadium, or guess what? Even without the war, it should be in a fucking battlefield in Ukraine. That fight should take place. AJ versus Ngannou. That should be in Wembley, or guess what? Cameroon or Las Vegas. That should not be in Saudi Arabia. Oh, Ronaldo's in the audience, everyone. Look. Didn't we put on an hour festival enough between the co-main and main event? It's shit. It's ruining it, but that's not what this video is about. They're becoming dependent on this money to have these events. And when that happens, you get Shara being allowed to get away with the most egregious fence grab in recent UFC history. You get Naimov committing one of the worst cheatings we've ever seen in UFC history and not having a single fucking point taken from him. Wood loses the fight. 1 foul, 2 foul. He grabbed it a second time. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll count that as the same. 8, 9, 10. No points deducted. Oh, it was an accident, guys. Give it a no contest already. Intentional. Take Jan's belt. It was an accident, you guys. He didn't mean to grip him by his fucking dreads and hold him hostage by them and punch him in the face while doing it. It was an accident, guys. Oh, just a Nasrat decision, guys. Don't worry about it. Oh, just a 10-8 to Chimaev. Oh, well, looks like Usman can't possibly win without a finish now. Even though he clearly got the last 2 rounds. Don't worry, guys. Just the most easy 10-8 round we've ever given in UFC history to Magomed Gadziasilov by a guy who maybe accidentally scored the first 2 rounds to Ribeiro and realized, oh shit, if I don't give this a 10-8, I'm scoring it against this guy. Let me give him a 10-8 round real quick. What is going on? And I ain't even showed you some shit, man. Abu Dhabi. They start going to Abu Dhabi. Khabib's their front runner. Khabib's their big name that they have. Khabib Nurmagomedov missed weight against Justin Gaethje, and the officials in Abu Dhabi let him do it. I don't know if they let him do it. I take that back. I'm playing a character. Man, I hate that I have to walk on eggshells, man. The UFC, or the commission in Abu Dhabi, made such a mistake that Khabib Nurmagomedov, in his big retirement fight against Justin Gaethje, was allowed to miss weight for a championship fight. Not by him pushing down on the towel. Not by him taking 1 foot off the scale. This isn't on Khabib. When Habib looked terrible in his weight cut for the Gaethje fight, look at the scales, guys. If you don't know how these types of scales work, I'm going to tell you right now. This is set at 155 pounds. That's the weight that Habib is supposed to weigh for his title fight against Justin Gaethje. If it is, he's about to shift it to 155, I think, right? Yeah, that's what he's about to do. What? Oh, no. He's got to let loose this so he can see if it's stable or not. Now, when he lets this loose, this is set at championship weight 155. If he is at championship weight, this counterbalance, will stay stable. It's set to a force of 155. If the force on the scale is 155, it won't move or budge. If the force on the scale is over 155, it will sway and it will move upwards and hit the top of the scale. This is supposed to stay steady if Habib weighs 155 pounds. And the guy just goes, yep, and scoots it along. That scale did not balance out at 155 fucking pounds, commission. And the fact that you watched it not do that and then just went 155 is one of the most insane things. The scale goes up before he has made second contact with it. The scale has moved from the balance area to an area which dictates he has not made 155 pounds. He has not made contact with the scale yet. It has hit the roof. 155, he says, whilst watching it with his two eyes not be 155. An accident maybe, commission over there. Habib gets to fight. Abu Dhabi gets their huge event with Justin Gaethje in the main event, and Habib ends up winning. He probably would have won anyway, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not taking this out on Habib or Ikram or Makhachev. What I'm saying is, outside of the Habib fake weigh-in moment, which Oliveira don't get the fucking credit for, when his scale's off by 0.5, but the scale backstage says he's on weight, what do you know, fucking strip him. Now Makhachev gets a title shot over Bobby Green after beating him on a week's notice. Because now Oliveira's fighting for a vacant belt, so it's more justifiable. Where did that fight take place? In Abu Dhabi. Dude, these guys are great fighters. Khabib, Makhachev, Ankalaev, Umar Nurmagomedov, they are phenomenal fighters. And with or without this rigging, they likely would be the dominant forces that they are. But when you look at this over the past two cards, and then I tell you, Shara Magomedov got offered Paulo Costa. Or Marvin Vettori, sorry, after beating Bruno Silva. And this is not the same Bruno Silva that, fought Pereira, who was on a 4-fight win streak and number 15 in the middleweight division. He was on a losing streak. He's been on a skid. He's never looked the same since Pereira shattered his face. Shara Magomedov beat him. Got offered Marvin Vettori. He won his debut fight in the UFC middleweight division. He got offered Marvin Vettori next. The fight never ended up happening. Ikram Aliskerov beat who? Phil Hawes, the chinniest fighter in UFC middleweight history. Bottom of the barrel. Been KO'd so many fucking times. Who did he get offered? Paulo Costa. Up the top of the rankings. Matt Chimaev's out of the event. Usman said he said yes to the Whittaker fight. Ali Abdelaziz came out and said that Usman said yes to the Whittaker fight. Nobody wanted to fight Whittaker on short notice, guys. It's got to be Ikram Aliskerov. I'm sick of it, man. And it's nothing to do with the fighters. They are great fighters. And I'm coming around to him. Makhachev, one of my favorite personalities in the UFC. Dude's got some good one-liners. He's funny. And he's really entertaining. You can't call him boring anymore. He's very entertaining. And a great champ. Always shows up. Has a good fight most of the time. The Volk fight was really fun. The Poirier fight was really fun. And if it's not really fun, it's because he smoked him. I'm not targeting the fighters. I'm noticing trends. And I'm very good at noticing trends. And when you take away the Habib moment and you just simply look at all of this fucking shit that should be taking place over the stretch of 4 years in the US. And when you see it take place within 2 events, and in every situation, it benefits Khamzat Chimaev. Alhamdulillah, it benefited him. Magomed Gaziasilov. Alhamdulillah, it fucking benefited him. Nasrat Akparast. Whoa, Astaghfirullah, benefited him. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. All right. What a coincidence. Ottoman Abu Azaitar, he still fucking lost, but this call benefited him. Wow, it benefited Ankalaev. What a fucking surprise, guys. That's crazy. Wow, this benefited Mohammed Naimov. Mohammed Naimov. That's crazy, dude. Wow. All of these cheats. Wow, it benefited Shara Magomedov, dude. That's insane, dude. Hundreds of millions of dollars, you say? To have your events in Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, you say? Oh, no, dude. You're kind of owing Abu Dhabi because they saved you during the pandemic? Oh, no, dude. That's crazy, dude. They're the only reason you even had fucking shows on during the pandemic? Holy shit, dude. Let Habib miss weight, dude. Hundreds of millions of dollars, dude. We need these guys in the main events, guys. I'm losing my fucking mind. I needed to make this video to get it off my chest. Please don't let me be the only one noticing this shit. Share this video. I'm coming around to these fighters. They're good. They're really good, man. I'm coming around to them. There's something shady going on over there, dude. And fighters are being wronged. And I tell you this right now. If you ain't Muslim, don't you ever go fight in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. Hey, Jared Gordon, I tell you why. See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip.